Well, next Wednesday, the Miami Dolphins will host their second annual Jason Jenkins Day of Service. It is named after their beloved Vice President of Community Affairs, who died tragically 2 years ago. Our person of interest today is his widow, Elizabeth Jenkins. She now carries the torch for his biggest charity initiative with a new sense of destiny and purpose. When Jason Jenkins died 2 years ago, the Dolphins needed someone to step into his huge shoes and lead the fundraising effort for their enormously successful Dolphins Cancer Challenge. That's when team president Tom Garfinkel approached Jenkins' widow, Elizabeth, with a bright idea.
What are your thoughts about maybe taking over his board chair? And I was like, oh, that's a little much. I was like, let me table that and see really if I could wrap my head around it. And
so you were skeptical at first?
More skeptical if I could actually do it, if I had the skill set.
So what convinced you?
I went to church and my pastor gave a very impassioned speech about if God keeps bringing something into your life, maybe you should say yes.
So Elizabeth Jenkins took on the role. At first, it was tough returning to Hard Rock Stadium, where her husband had collapsed and died of a blood clot at the age of 47.
I knew exactly where his office was, so when I would walk up to the stadium, I would look up into his window, and I will be honest, I looked for him. I was hoping that he would be there. It's still inconceivable to me that he's not here. Like, I would definitely say for the first year, the kids and I just pretended he was at an away game. It was easy for us to do that because he was gone so often that we could just pretend, and we did.
The Dolphins have wrapped their arms around Jenkins and her 3 young children, and in return, she has become every bit the community advocate her late husband once was. The Dolphins Cancer Challenge attracts people bonded by a sense of loss that cancer inevitably brings. Jenkins believes her own loss has steeled her for this role.
I think people are comfortable talking to me because I really wear my emotions on my sleeve. I have no problem talking about the uncomfortable things. Death is a very uncomfortable topic for a lot of people. I don't have any problems talking about that. Grief is a very difficult topic to have with people. I'm comfortable talking about people's grief.
What do you tell them?
To feel it, to be honest. And I'm still going through it, so I'm not saying I'm on the other side. And I don't think there is an other side to it. You just sort of, you hit sort of milestones where you're comfortable in it.
Jenkins admits reaching this point has not been easy. She saw how her husband had the ear of the Dolphins' billionaire owner, Stephen Ross, but the eye for meeting countless needs of those in the community. How could he be taken from this world so soon?
I couldn't wrap my head around the whys.
And now?
I don't think I fully understand the why it was him, but I do very much believe that there is no bad situation that God will not turn for good. Life is not always roses and rainbows. Sometimes you're going to go through some seasons of life where things are hard. And I think we, as collectively as a society, have seen hard as a bad thing, where you can always flip it on its head and say hard is teaching you a little bit of grit to get through it.
This year's Jason Jenkins Day of Service will land on what would have been his 50th birthday. This unprecedented outreach effort of Dolphins employees and volunteers unites people who come from far and wide. People ask me about Miami all the time who don't live here, and they say, it looks like this great melting pot. I said, well, it's more like a quilt. Funny, but often true. However, Jason Jenkins believed that Miami's patchwork of communities could be connected in meaningful ways. Do you share that belief?
I do. I mean, I am multiracial. My father is white, my mom is Korean, my kids are black. I know it is a lot. I think there's uniquenesses that you have to highlight. I think that's a good thing. I think there are way more things that we have in common with each other than different.
At a public celebration of Jason's life 2 years ago, Elizabeth Jenkins challenged everyone there to channel her husband's giving spirit. Now, she is beginning to see her words that day in an even bigger light.
I wonder if his passing was a moment that was passing the torch to others to start taking it on their own. We're in an area that maybe they never thought they could.
Including you.
Including me.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah. A confession from me.
Yes.
I have never ridden in the DCC.
What?
I'm a tennis player, okay?
Okay.
I know that sounds like an alibi, and maybe it is. But Elliot Rodriguez has been busting my chops for years, so I broke down, and I said this on the air, so I'm saying it again.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to ride this year.
You are. Yeah. I'm very happy. Do you know what you're riding?
Not yet.
You're like, I don't want to actually put that on the
yet.
air.
The Dolphins will host their annual Jason Jenkins Day of Service on Wednesday, October 30th. You can learn more about volunteer opportunities on our website, cbsmiami.com. Just search Jason Jenkins.